Hey folks, Mauricio here with an unboxing for Warhammer Diskwars from Fantasy Flight Games. This is a competitive strategy battle game based on the Warhammer Fantasy license for 2 to 4 players. Now this came out about a week ago. I've been looking forward to it, just got my copy. Someone on Board Game Geek asked earlier why there had not been an unboxing video for this yet. And someone replied because an unboxing video for this would be pretty boring. Well, this is that boring video. And here we have it, Warhammer Diskwars, the front of the box, featuring art of Warhammer Fantasy units. And on the back, some info about the game and a quick look at some of the components you're going to get. So let's see what those are. Okay, first thing you might notice, there is a range ruler. It's a foot long. It's meant to obviously measure ranges for ranged attacks. And you'll notice that it actually came a little bit bent because it's inserted this way. I was wondering how they could get a foot-long ruler in a box that's not a foot long in any of its dimensions, but so they put it here diagonally. But it ends up being bent by these other components, depending on which way the box is sitting. So that's kind of disappointing, but it'll be okay. So that's first thing you see. There is a bag of dice. 4 dice here, 1 regular and 3 customized battle dice. Next we have a pack of cards. I'll go into a little bit more detail of what these cards are, but there are some cards. 24-page color rulebook. I'll go through that in a second in some more detail, but there you go, 24-page color rulebook. And then you have 7 sheets of cardboard that look roughly like this, that have the actual discs, the units in the game. So this one has 16 on them, this one has fewer but larger discs. So they come in small, medium, and large discs, and I'll go over some of those in a minute. But these are 7 sheets of cardboard like this that you have to punch out. So that is the quick version of what's in the box. Let me take a closer look at some of the components. I've taken everything out of the box. Here it is, empty. So what you saw earlier is what you get. Here are those 7 sheets of cardboard. I punched out a few of them to show you. Here, let's start with the rule book. It's, as I said, 24 pages long, full color. Has an index on the back, which is handy. What's really interesting about this one compared to other rule books is that it does have a tutorial scenario. And it'll say there for your first game, and then a few pages in, that's the setup for the learning scenario. And then later on, after you've learned everything to sort of get going, there's the expanded rules section that goes into more detail. So you can get going with the game by just looking at the first 11 pages of rules. And it's not that dense. This is actually pretty easy to learn. So there you go. The rules are available online as a PDF for free to download at the Fantasy Flight website. So please, if you're interested, go take a look. I did that before I bought the game just to get an idea of what I was going to be getting. So that's the rule book. The star of the show are the discs. So let me show you those now. Here's just a few of them. Obviously, there's plenty more than this. There's of the 3 sizes. There's 38 of these small ones. 16 of these medium-sized ones, and then 8 of these large ones. These large ones ended up being larger than I expected, actually. There's 4 factions in the game. There's the Chaos, which have this red border, Empire, which have this blue border, and High Elves, which have this yellow or gold border, and then Orcs, which have a green border like this. And they're evenly divided, so you'll get, like for the large disc, you'll get 2 of each for each faction. Now, some of you may be wondering, do I need to purchase multiple core sets to sort of have the best army building possibilities? And the answer is yes, but I would first buy one, see if you like it, and see what flexibility that gives you before you decide to get into it wholesale. But having multiple core sets does help. Some people have bought 2 or maybe even 3 just to have the full army building capabilities. So there are also terrain tiles like this, so you can optionally play with terrain. They're double-sided, and you put this out on the board. Now, actually, that's something you may have noticed. There's no board in the box. I didn't take out a board, did I? So all those terrain and these units are actually laid out on a table or any other flat surface that's 3 foot by 3 foot. There is no board. There is no hex grid for you to move your units on. The units actually move freely, and that's really the special mechanic of the game. So to move units, you actually flip them end over end. So let's say it has a movement rating of 3, then you'll just flip it. You can flip it up to 3 times like that. And that's how far it can go. So the speed, or how far the unit can move, is determined by its movement points as well as the size of the disc. So obviously a larger disc will move more in a single flip. So it's the combination of those things, 2 things, that determine how far a unit can move. Now, like I said, it's a 3x3 playing field. I guess you could do smaller if you don't have a table that's big, but the rules say 3 foot by 3 foot. And to help you with that, they included these little corner markers that you're supposed to put at the corners of the playfield. Now, when you are setting up, you'll use these deployment cards at the edge of the playfield to indicate where you can put your units. So it has to fit in these 3 cards, and the rules go into this in more detail, but you'll have, for example, 3 cards, and the units have to be within a certain distance from the edge of the table based on this range ruler. So that's how you would set up. The other cards I'll just mention briefly are the main cards, or command cards, like these. These are command cards. These are used to activate units at the beginning of a round. So you and your opponent will each place a card face down, and then flip them over simultaneously, and whoever has the faster card, as determined by this marker here, for example, slow, there's also devious, bold, and steady. For example, bold will go first. So if you place down a bold card and your opponent placed down a slow card, you would go first. And then this number up here indicates how many units you can activate, and they're also potentially special abilities. So you do that several times in a round until all the discs have been activated. The last but not least, in terms of components, the dice are used for ranged attacks. Melee attacks don't use these. Ranged attacks do have a random component, and that's what these are used for. So, as well as this range ruler. So for ranged units, they can shoot at each other and potentially do damage before coming into contact. When they do come into contact and melee ensues, that happens when 2 discs overlap each other. Then this disc is pinned by this other disc, and actually once a disc is pinned, it can't be activated. So it's actually a good idea to sort of pin your opponent as early as possible. And pins can be stacked even further, so pins can be stacked, as tall as you want. It makes it a little bit difficult to perhaps read what's on the disc when it's pinned, but that's a concession I guess you have to make for having these things on discs like that. So, there are no separate cards indicating what's on the disc. Everything you need to know about the disc is on the disc, and of course some of these modifiers are explained in the rulebook. While we're talking about the disc, you may want to purchase and use for your playing surface some kind of felt or fleece like this. A hard, smooth surface. It's likely that the discs will slip as you're flipping them over, and so you won't get, the disc might slip and you won't get an accurate distance. They also might bounce a little and then move a little too easily. But all you really need to do is, like I said, get a piece of felt or fleece, and then the disc will be quite stable on that kind of surface, like a pool table felt, that sort of thing. It's just go to a fabric store, get some sheet of it, and just put it down on your table. That'll actually help a lot. Highly recommended. Now, as you notice, there are a lot of discs to punch out and sort, and what the box does not have. Again, there's nothing else in the box. The box does not have an insert of any kind, so you're going to have to come up with some storage mechanism on your own. And I'm sure people will figure out ways to get plain old boxes to fit these things, although, like I said, these discs are pretty big. What I plan to use actually are colored baggies in the colors of the units. So I'm going to use this green bag for storing orc units, high elves, empire, chaos, and then a black bag for all the other components like the wound markers. So if you want, I'll post a link of where you can get these colored baggies, or you can find something like it yourself. But I find this very handy for just for quick setup and cleanup of a game. So that worked. The colors I have work pretty well with the units available here. These units. So there you have it. That's Warhammer Diskwars, at least what you get in the box. If you're interested in a rules video, perhaps I can do that too. Let me know. I think the game is fairly easy to learn, to set up and play. But if you're still interested in a rules video, maybe I can do that too. I just wanted to give you a quick unboxing video. Please leave comments or questions at Board Game Geek or at YouTube. Thanks for watching.